Senator joins me, I like to remind people Thom was the son of a boatsman, a draftsman, a boat draftsman. And he moved a dozen times, 20 times actually in his life, but he never went to the same school in consecutive years. I'm always amazed by that, Senator Tillis, always amazed by that. And now you're in the United States Senate, and I'm sure you're running through the tape.
Yeah, here we are. We're working hard. We've had two great rallies with the president since Sunday, and or I should say Sunday or Friday night. Gosh, I can't even keep track anymore. But we were in Hickory. We were in Fayetteville. There's a lot of intensity out there. I've eaten about 30 pounds of barbecue over the last 7 days and talked to a lot of people, and I think we're going to see good turnout. At the polls today, we saw historic turnout in early voting, and back to what you said, I've told a lot of people, if you want to know how I've direct myself, what my priority is, I'm looking for the people who grew up like I did and make sure they have the same extraordinary chance that I did.
Yeah, opportunity society is everything. Senator Tillis, I want to ask the tough question first. And if you got kids in the car, you may not want to have you listen to this. Your opponent cheated on his spouse during this campaign at least once. And we know that. And maybe twice and maybe three times. He won't answer questions. Does that matter to the people of North Carolina?
I believe it does. I think that we've seen a kind of a seismic shift in trusting him. You have to keep in mind he's an Army lieutenant colonel who ran millions of dollars in ads saying that the truth matters and honor matters. He's been untruthful and dishonorable. And I think that has struck a chord with a number of people in North Carolina. 10 years ago, it probably would have ended a campaign. Now it just affects a certain amount of the demographic. But, we're a military state. We're a state with almost 1 million veterans. And you have an adulterous affair with a wounded warrior's wife, and that matters to the veterans population. It matters to military families. It certainly matters to the Marines, the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy that's represented here in this state.
No, I'm a military family, but I'm a civilian, and I sure would. I would be so outraged if someone broke my daughter's wedding apart. I mean, I cannot tell you that. She's married to a service member. I cannot tell you how angry I would be. I assume you've run into that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do a lot of work with wounded warriors and a lot of the guys from the 82nd Airborne who came back with the wounds of war. And in that community, when you're a field grade officer, and he was a JAG officer. He said that he deployed with Special Forces in one of his ads, but he's not a special operator. He was a JAG officer who understands the code of conduct, understands the laws governing the military, and he broke them at least once, probably twice, and who knows how many more times. He dishonored his family, his teenage kids, and that alone should disqualify him for being in office.
Now, Senator Tillis, let's talk about the reason to vote for you. There are lots of reasons to vote against Cal Cunningham. I mean, I just couldn't vote for him. I bet you a lot of Democrats are just staying home, even if they can't bring themselves to pull the lever for you. But you're out there with the president. How were those rallies? What were they applauding? What do they see in the guy? What do they see in you? I know the Supreme Court votes you cast. I watched you during the Amy Coney Barrett hearing. You protected her. You gave her a chance to answer questions when she got rudely interrupted by Senator Hirono. You were there to protect her. What is motivating these people? Because these crowds are extraordinary.
Well, I was in Hickory. We had almost 30,000 people there. Excuse me. And I asked them, I said, raise your hand if you can think of one promise this president hasn't kept in his first 4 years in office. 30,000 people. I said, as a matter of fact, he not only cut taxes, cut regulations, put forth over 200 conservative judges, including Barrett, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh. He's done things he didn't even have on his list. Think about moving the embassy to Jerusalem. Think about taking out ISIS leaders. Think about taking out the most notorious terrorists in Soleimani. Think about how he has taken China to task. I mean, my goodness, folks. Yeah, every once in a while he's got some stylistic differences from this North Carolinian, but you cannot question his track record. And the same goes for me. I voted with the president down the line. He's put forth conservative judges. I'm on the Judiciary Committee. I proudly cast my vote in committee, and then on the floor, I voted for tax cuts. I did that back when I was Speaker of the House. In the 4 years that I was Speaker, I did for North Carolina what the president's helped do for this country. And we need those 4 years. We also need to understand that Chuck Schumer would destroy the institution of the Senate. He would do the nuclear option. He would pack the courts. He would pass tax increases. He would codify into law things like Waters of the U.S. and the Green New Deal, and it would destroy this country.
I got to say, Senator, tonight, I don't think we'll call any states or races until 3 a.m. I'm doing Salem Media from 6 to midnight. How long can people vote in North Carolina, too, by the way, Senator?
The polls will be open, I believe, until 8 o'clock. And there's a lot of people out there now, and we're trying to encourage everybody to get out, vote early, get out early, and then get on the phone and call your friends and neighbors and tell them that the future of the country is at stake, and we need everybody out to vote.
Now, in my places where I voted, if people ever dispute your right to vote, you file a provisional. I hope your people know that if they say you're in the wrong place, file a provisional. I just don't trust some of these Democrats. I just don't.
No, I think you're absolutely right. We've got a lot of additional polling locations, so it is very important for if you end up going to a polling location, it's not your primary one. Make sure that it's a provisional ballot. I believe in Mecklenburg County and across the state, those votes will be counted. But it is very important, if you can, to make sure that you go to your official precinct or your polling location.
Now, in terms of turnout, Senator, are you heading into the day tied, behind, or ahead? With everyone that we've already voted, do you have those numbers?
We look like, well, first off, we've had historic Republican turnout, but the election is going to be decided today. I think going into it, it is a dead heat. And turnout today is going to determine the result of the election for the president and for my race here in North Carolina. But I feel confident, Hugh. It's always close in North Carolina, but I feel confident that at the end of the day, we win.
And I also believe that if I see Thom Tillis called, and it will be one of the earliest states called, I know the Republicans will hold the Senate. And if they hold the Senate, it will be everything for this country, either to confirm Donald Trump judges or to hold the line against Joe Biden. We have to hold the Senate.
There's a reason why North Carolina is, again, the most expensive race and Senate race in U.S. history, because we know if we do our part to save the Senate, then we'll win the day. That's why it's so important for people in North Carolina to get out and vote. It's a beautiful day here across the state. There's not a cloud in the sky. Put a jacket on, get out and vote, call your friends, get them out to vote.
Senator Tillis, great to talk to you. Thank you. I look forward to talking.